I coded a profitable game on Roblox with tens of thousands of players and in-app purchases. All of this to answer the question, is it profitable to create a Roblox game today? Roblox averages 111 million players per day. Today, Roblox games are played more worldwide than League of Legends or Minecraft. Roblox's power for developers doesn't come from boosting a game's popularity, but from its built-in monetization tools that make games profitable. On Roblox, Robux is the virtual currency that makes in-game purchases very easy. With just 2 clicks, I spent €2 in the game. It's wild. Just think that last year, even though there were already fewer players, they paid out $923 million to developers. In this video, we'll test how much money we can earn by making a successful Roblox game. As usual, we have to start by finding the concept for the game we want to make. But this time, the special thing about this episode is that we need to find a concept that works with Roblox's style. I spent quite a bit of time in the biggest games, took notes, tried to understand why they worked, and I identified 4 main psychological principles that we need to follow. First, instant understanding. Games that succeed usually pass the one-sentence test. If I can't explain the goal in 1 sentence, it's too complex for Roblox. For example, the game could involve jumping from obstacle to obstacle without falling, collecting, selling, and upgrading, or running from the big ones while eating the small ones. It's silly, but it lets users know what to do right away and quickly get hooked. The second way to keep them addicted is to give regular dopamine rewards. To achieve this, events must occur regularly. For instance, overcoming an obstacle or unlocking an upgrade. Ideally, something should happen every 1 to 2 minutes. The third observation is to prioritize clarity over beauty. We'll use super simple silhouettes, very large shapes, and highly contrasting colors. Actually, to tell you, the most common style on Roblox is called stud, and it looks like this. It's kind of like Lego, and there are a lot of games that use this style because, well, it's super simple. And finally, there needs to be a social aspect. That's the strength of Roblox. We need to be able to compare ourselves to others. There should be, for example, a leaderboard, and our appearance should be customizable so we can compare ourselves to others through how we look. The idea is that it pushes people to want to be the best, compare themselves to others, and even play with their friends to challenge them. Well, all of this isn't an exact science, it's my own take, it's how I analyze things. But I found a game concept that follows these 4 main principles. Actually, all these mechanics remind me of games you find outside of Roblox, the .io games. Like, for example, Slicer.io or Agar.io. For example, in Agar.io, it's easy. You grow by eating dots, then eat other players as you get bigger, earning points and dopamine from rising counters. The game is social, with simple, colorful visuals. I didn't copy Agar.io, I'm adapting it for Roblox. The advantage of Roblox compared to an online game is that it's very easy to build in 3 dimensions, so my added value could be to recreate Agar.io, but in 3D. You'll soon realize making a Roblox game isn't always easier than making a regular game. Of course, you have to create it, but you also have to organize events, make updates, monetize it, and if all that works, then Roblox will promote our game on its own. To give myself the best chance, I decided to develop this game with Soundblock, who are actually experts on Roblox. Soundblock is my game studio, founded with 2 friends, Fuse and Timothy. Thanks to them, the game will look great, run smoothly, and could continue beyond this video. It's a real company with real people, but when we started, there were just 3 of us. We became partners and started a company, but struggled so much that I wish I'd known about Legal Plays, this video's sponsor. Legal Plays aims to let anyone start a business without paperwork worries. If I had to rebuild Soundblock, I could show you exactly how much time it would take. I would have visited their website, clicked Start My Business, selected the business sector, indicated if I'm alone or with others, and picked the legal status. For us, it's an LLC, but you could just as easily choose a sole proprietorship or a single-member simplified joint stock company depending on your needs. After that, you fill in the important information: the date of creation, the company name, the business sector, the president, the partners, the share capital, and finally the address. By the way, about the address, obviously we didn't have any premises at the beginning, and even for that, Legal Place takes care of it. They can register your company at their address. After filling everything out, choose from 3 packages. At that price, you might as well do it with them rather than on your own. Plus, if you pick another package or service, you get 15 off with my code A115. The file will be processed in under 24 hours, and I just need to answer their questions during the process. If you want continued support, they can also manage your capital deposit, business account, or accounting. This is possible because they handle large volumes. They've already supported 300,000 businesses. If paperwork is stopping you from starting your business, try using my link and code in the description. We can get started. To create a game on Roblox, we use Roblox Studio. It's the Roblox editor. It's an editor kind of like Unity and Unreal Engine, honestly. Well, it's a bit more simplified, but here we have our files that contain code, our 3D models that we can implement. The first thing to do is to add the player, a shark. Yes, it's a shark. You have to have the vision. I promise we're going to make a super cool shark later on. Little spoiler. And for now, it's a cube. So I've developed a simple movement system. Right now, we can move our cube in all directions with WASD and space. It can temporarily speed up to chase players or defend itself. That's the end of the game. We can swim. Let's try the swimming simulator. Just kidding. Actually, the whole graphics part is missing because that's what's going to create all the immersion. When I talk about graphics, that obviously includes all the 3D models of the map. Like this one, for example. Wait, I'm talking to you about graphics and I'm showing you a suppository. Great. No, seriously, this is our future shark. We start with a simple shape and then we're going to sculpt this shape to create a real shark. Here, I'm showing it to you in fast forward because I find the process really satisfying to watch. You see, we tried to make it look a bit mean, but we gave it big eyes to give it a cartoonish look. On Roblox, since the audience is very young, we adapt. We'll test this shark in our Roblox world and there are some interesting techniques to set up before making it move. Just because it's a Roblox game doesn't mean we don't use real techniques. Look, once we've sculpted our shark, we need to do what's called retopology. The idea is to turn our creation into a geometric model with faces. This will then allow us to do what's called rigging, which means we literally add bones and joints to define how it will move. And finally, we'll do the texturing, which means we're going to color our shark so it gets its final appearance. Here we've used blue, but later there will be lots of different colors so we can have variety between players. If you're wondering why our shark doesn't have pupils, it's because we're going to add them dynamically with code. That way the pupil will move according to the player's movements. We made several animations to make the shark appear lifelike as it moves, eats other sharks, and more. This shows some of the behind the scenes work. Big shout out to Stefan from the Soundblock team, who's the artist behind all this. Honestly, if I were in his place, I would have done this. Maybe the game would have looked better, but hey, I don't want to make it a competition. We had fun modeling lots of other useful elements, like this gift, for example. We added what's called a skybox. It's the sky in the game that you see on the horizon. Normally, we usually put a blue sky with clouds, it's more consistent. Because we're in an ocean, we used blue colors and textures, similar to SpongeBob if you catch the reference. We can also have fun adding light and shadow effects. Now it feels more believable that our shark is swimming in the ocean. Now we need to let our shark grow endlessly. That's what will make our game so satisfying, becoming a shark as big as the ocean if you play for hours. Just like HagarAgar.io, which spawns little colored dots randomly, we're going to spawn multicolored light orbs randomly in the ocean. It would look like this. I can move my shark over them and it will eat them, and that will make it grow. We've also implemented a live leaderboard for the game right here. This way, you can see which players are the biggest in the game, and it maximizes the competitive aspect of the game. You may have noticed that eating orbs doesn't make you grow a lot. It's very subtle, and that's actually on purpose. You earn far more points by eating other players since you get all their points. This encourages competition. For example, that's an enemy shark. I promise it will move later. Right now, it's just for testing. If I get close, I can eat it and get its points. But seeing all these stationary sharks doesn't really make you want to play. But you'll see, we're going to try bringing in a bunch of subscribers later to have a real match in actual conditions. We're going to have an underwater massacre. And we're even going to bring in bots that will control some sharks for a very specific reason. In the meantime, Stefan has finished modeling other decorative elements for our ocean, but also allow us to create hiding spots. We have seaweed, rocks, or even abandoned boats like this one. Here, we're on a very open ocean. It feels like it's infinite. Well, in reality, there's an invisible barrier that will limit the size, and this size depends on the number of players in order to maximize the chances of meeting other players. When we first started making the game, initially, the ocean looked like this. It was completely enclosed, we had terraformed lots of mountains around it, the map was super organic, and visually it was very cool, very original. But the problem is, if you get really big, you quickly end up blocked by the rocks. On top of that, it creates a lot of visibility issues if there are a lot of players who are big. Don't take that sentence out of context. We changed our strategy and made an open ocean instead. Here's a quick clip of Stefan realizing he modeled all those mountains for nothing. Now, I might shatter some dreams here. When you play mobile games or multiplayer.io games, you're often not facing real people, but bots. I can easily prove it. A game that got quite a bit of attention is this one, All.io. In this game, you're a hole and you have to swallow as many things in a city as possible to become the biggest. It feels like you're in a game with lots of other players, but strangely, if you disconnect from the internet, well, the other players keep playing, because they're bots. I found a whole Reddit community where people are calling out these kinds of games. And actually, it's super convenient for developers to create bots. There are 3 main reasons behind this. The first one is economic. When you release a multiplayer game, what costs you money are the servers. Well, if you replace some or even all of the players with bots, obviously it costs you less money. The second reason is strategic. Some games, like PUBG Mobile, secretly match you with bots in your first games. This is either to gauge your skill or to make you think you're better than you are. Obviously, bots will never be as strong as humans, so it's easy to kill them. And the third reason is the one that interests us. The problem we see when launching a game from scratch is that there might be 0 players at the beginning. If you log into a game with no one there, you just leave. Also, creating bots is very hard. We literally have to invent a kind of artificial intelligence that's able to swim naturally, that will go toward the orbs, that will flee if there are enemy sharks, or on the contrary, attack, or worst of all, avoid obstacles. It's a real headache, you know? The only thing that was easy to make was the random username system when they appear. We got some inspiration for that from Roblox games. We wrote down all the usernames of the players we saw, and we tweaked them a bit so they'd look like believable usernames. The game is nearly finished, but still needs a few simple yet essential features to work well with the Roblox community. I'll show you several game screens from various Roblox experiences. There's one thing that keeps coming back every time, and that's these elements that make up the interface. Every time we have little buttons in the same places to access a shop, loot boxes, gifts, a coin count. Actually, these are the elements that allow players to track their progress and access bonuses. But also, and let's be honest, this is what will allow us to monetize our game. Honestly, the goal of this experience isn't to be original, but to do what works. So we've recreated similar interface buttons. So you'll find a skin editor, but we can imagine that eventually we'll be able to make other types of fish, maybe even, for example, a whale. Of course, we've made a whole range of colors, which was pretty easy to do since our sharks are all one color. Of course, when you talk about skins, you need a coin system to buy them, and this little wheel right here, labeled spin, will actually let you get coins. It's a wheel of fortune that you can spin every time you have a spin. This wheel, besides being satisfying to use, will give you either coins or in-game bonuses. For example, you could get a big speed boost, a big size boost, a bunch of orbs appearing around the player, or even an invincibility bubble for 30 seconds. This will make games more dynamic and give you a competitive edge when attacking or defending beyond just your size. Same thing. I'm not going to tell you I invented this mechanic, it's something that's present in a lot of Roblox maps. But the truth about why people add Wheels of Fortune isn't for fun, it's because they make money. This is the last step before testing our game with real players, adding monetization. I mentioned it to you on Roblox, there's a virtual currency called Robux, and that's really powerful because players will buy Robux once or even get them by paying for a subscription and then they can spend them in just 2 clicks on Roblox games. So really, for game developers, it makes adding paid features way too easy. Almost too easy to the point where sometimes there are things I find a bit over the top that are put up for sale, including a specific feature that we ended up adding too. Because we're doing what everyone else does. I'll show you that in a moment. Before that, we added the ability to pay to get spins, obviously. We also added what we call revives. That's also something that's pretty commonly used. It's the idea of making players pay to revive when they die. And to keep some balance, well, if they die multiple times, the price gets higher and higher. And finally, the thing I thought of adding is the ability to pay for revenge. More specifically, paying to kill the person who killed you. It's expensive, but this button exists. Honestly, I think it's horrible, yet I'm curious if people will pay for it. We just added features to actively generate money. On Roblox, you can earn passive income, not just from sales. For example, premium players with subscriptions generate money for you without any extra effort. And these players, if they spend time on your game, they will automatically bring you money, because Roblox will give you a part of their subscription. The second way is even smarter. On Roblox, you can put up advertising boards. And that's crazy. They invented a real in-game ad network. The last thing to know before the game goes live is the share that Roblox will take from our profit. On that, they're pretty transparent. They even made this chart, for example. If we take the example of a player who spends 100 euros, we can see that 40 euros will be used to pay for server hosting, storage, moderation, etc. So, the technical costs of Roblox. 33 euros will go into Roblox's pockets, that's their operating margin, and we will get back 28 euros, which means 28 out of the total amount, so yeah, 28% is very little. If we compare to Steam, the App Store, or the Play Store, they take 30%, so we get 70%, and in return, Roblox is really turnkey. We don't have to manage any servers, and they'll promote us to their large player base. Of course, all that. We're now able to post everything we've made on Roblox. Interestingly, publishing a Roblox game is similar to uploading a YouTube video. You start by picking a name. We went with sharksharks.io because we think it's a good way to understand the concept of the game. And then, you have to choose a thumbnail. It's the image you'll see in the search results. And just like on YouTube, you can create several different thumbnails. Roblox will test each to see which one converts best. This is called A/B testing. We've made different thumbnails, and here's a technique for effective A/B testing. I'm going to use what Growy Grow Guardian, the most popular game on Roblox, did to illustrate this for you. Basically, first you test different compositions to find the one that gets the most clicks. And once you have the optimal composition, well, you change a specific element, a model, a color, a text. That way you can further optimize which thumbnail works best. And if you want to optimize it even more, you can pay Roblox to promote your game. As you can see, they have an ads tool, and you can decide, for example, to spend 100 euros over 5 days, which means you'll spend 20 euros per day. Roblox will feature your game in sponsored slots in return. You might think paying for players isn't profitable, but you still have to do it. When you launch a game, it's recommended to set a small advertising budget right from the start. That way your game gets noticed more quickly, and so Roblox can evaluate more quickly if your game is a good one, and then on its own, it will naturally promote it. I invested 100 euros, and we'll see later how many players that attracts. As usual, I promoted it on all my social networks, Discord and YouTube. As promised, we'll test this game with real players, even taking some risks by live streaming it. Hi YouTube, it's been way too long. Let's jump into a game of Respawn. Alright, so we're really small. I have 0 points. Compared to the others, well, I'm tiny, and we're going to start picking up orbs. You can see I picked up an orb and immediately grew in size. And if I touch him, obviously he kills me, so now he got some points, he doesn't even know who killed me. That's what's crazy. But wait, guys, I just thought of something insane. If I use revenge, does it kill him? That's such a jerk move, it's horrible. I hate this feature, but we have to do it. Roblox games do this, so we have to do it. 70 Robux. Is he dead? Is he dead? He's dead? That's great. Yeah, it's fine. The other one's cheating. Well, do you really think he's the cheater? But yeah, he messed himself up. Damn, I'm sorry I killed you by accident. Actually, he messed himself up, you know? Damn, we need to make an anti-cheat. This is great. We're having a shark meeting. I think it's awesome. How's it going, guys? We shouldn't touch each other because otherwise we'll kill each other. I got suspended for 5 minutes. No way, I was talking with my new shark buddies. Did we get rich? The game's been running for about a week. As usual, before talking numbers, keep in mind that in this format, the most interesting stats are the ones I'll give you 30 days after this video is released, because obviously it's this video that's going to shine a light on this project. I'll give you this new recap on my Discord, so don't hesitate to join it so you don't miss it. So first, what's cool to see is that we've reached 10,200 visits and it's still going up. We spent 100 euros on advertising, which made a big impact. Players spend an average of 7 minutes in the game. Revenge and Revive sold well, earning us 1,386 Robux, which means we get about 4.27 euros in our pocket. It's a bit ridiculous, especially given our ad spend. Maybe I picked the wrong Roblox game and should have made a tycoon or farming game, which are more on trend. Because right now, our problem is that people play, but they don't come back. And so, they don't spend money. We're still going to try to do some updates to add content for at least 1 or 2 weeks to get the most out of what we've done. We're working to improve retention and make this game more profitable. Please support us by trying our game using the link in the description. Quick reminder, if you want to start a business or delegate admin tasks for an existing one, Legal Play can help. The link's in the description. Use code AWIN15 for 15 off. This is Awin. Take care.